So when Jesus saw him and knew he had been ill for a long time, he asked him, "Would you like to get well?" "I can't, sir," the sick man said, "for I have no one to put me into the pool when the water bubbles up. Someone else always get there ahead of me." Jesus told him, "Stand up, pick up your mat, and walk." I'm going to take some time and teach from this topic. It's about time. It's about time. Have your seats. In the presence of the Lord. It's about time. It's about time. I don't know if you guys know that I went to Florida A&M University, and blessed be. I went to Florida A&M University, and I majored in psychology. That was all that I ever wanted to do, and by way of life and kids and marriage and being broke. I never went back to school to finish up my certifications to become a psychologist. But however, and I plan to at some point, bless the Lord, to do something like that. But however, in the meantime, I've been operating illegally as a psychologist, a spiritual psychologist, by way of pastoring. Amen. For some reason, y'all trust me. For some reason, y'all figured I know what I'm talking about. And one of the things that we learned in psychology was just how to ask the correct questions. It's not about telling a person what they need to do. It's about asking the right questions so they can figure out the right thing to do by themselves. Because there's something about figuring it out by yourself that allows you to understand it a little better, allows you to do it more submissively. So we ask a series of questions strategically to help this person figure out what it is the problem is, where it is they need to go in their life, what chapters they need to close, what doors they need to open. And in this scene reminds me of of the practices that we put in place, because it started off with this lame man sitting at a pool called Bethesda. And this place was filled with all kinds of people that had problems. Everybody needed something. It was lame people, it was blind people, it was paralyzed people, it was sick people, you name it. Everybody was there that needed something. Something that needed to be healed, something that was hurting, something that made them helpless. Have you ever been in a place where everybody was crazy? They often say psychologists is the most craziest people in the world. And I think partly is because that because of who they are, people put unrealistic expectations on them. Because the fact that you're telling me what to do or telling me how I should do, you should have all the answers and should be doing the same thing. But because you're telling me something that that person may not even have the strength or the tools to do themselves, now they look a little crazy. And in this situation, everybody is lame, everybody is blind, everybody is sick, everybody is paralyzed, everybody needs something. And it seems like the best option was this pool. Now, legend says that at some point in the year, the angel comes down, gets in the pool, the water bubbles up, and whoever gets in the pool first is the person that gets healed from their disease. That's a pretty good pool. And regardless of what their situation is, the pool was the answer. And some people was there because life sent them through a course of circumstances that now they're trying to regain something that they once had. Some people was there because someone else's negligence impacted their life. And now they're stuck with racing for a remedy due to someone else's wretchedness. Some people were there because they was born that way. Or maybe been that way for as long as they could remember. Regardless of why you are here, why they were there at the pool, they're all hoping, seeking, and waiting for something to happen. I don't know about you, but have you ever been in a place in your life where you are just waiting for something to happen? Some of y'all are waiting for IRS to drop that check. Some of you are just waiting for something to happen to change the trajectory of your life. Some of you guys check your emails 20 times a day because you're waiting on that email that is going to change your life. Some of you guys keep the phone in your hand 24/7 because you're hoping and praying that something would come through, would change your life. But Jesus asked the lame man this question. He says, would you like to get well? Take me to verse 6. Let's read it together. It said, would you like to get well? Jesus was just passing by. He was on his way. He was in Jerusalem for a festival that the Jews have. And he just by circumstance passes, if we want to believe Jesus does anything by circumstance, passes the pool of Bethesda and sees this guy lame. And he leans down and asks the man, out of all the people that was there, he chose this man and said, would you like to get well? And he says, I can't, sir. The sick man said, for I have no one to put me in the pool when the water bubbles up. Now, that was interesting to me because Jesus never asked him why he wasn't healed. He asked him, did he want to get healed? You ever talk to somebody and you ask them one thing and they start explaining everything? They're like, wait, hold on. And I saw that. And this man, he said, what happened was, and what happened is somebody's not there, and they would think he put me in the pool. And do you want to get healed? Do you want to be well? But the lame man, his answer to that question was, I needed somebody to put me in this pool. And Jesus said, do you want to get well? Yeah. The problem is I need something to happen. I need some type of assistance to help me to get into this pool. And Jesus acts like he doesn't even hear him. Jesus doesn't provide pool help. He gives him another response, another answer, has nothing to do with his complaint. And have you ever felt that you've been praying and praying to God and you've been telling him what needs to happen, but his answer, it seems like it does not address the complaint that you have, and you're like, God, are you hearing me? Because I said the answer to this problem would be for you to do this. But you seem to keep insisting that I do this. That is not the answer to my problem. Have you ever been there? Do I have some honest people in here that say, God has told me some answers that had nothing to do with my problem? I thought. But here's the thing. Jesus is sitting there right in front of the lame, right there. And we're all looking hindsight. We all looking, where's 2020? We're looking from the outside. We wasn't there thousands of years ago in his situation. We don't understand that sometimes when you are so passionate about something happening in your life, sometimes you will miss the real answer even if it's right in front of you. I know some of us won't be honest today, but some of us has missed some cues and misjudged some situations because we wasn't able to see the correct answer that was in front of us because we were so consumed by the passion of getting to where we wanted to go. Or getting to where we wanted, who we wanted to be with. Blinded by passion. Have you ever been blinded by passion? We can't see what God is trying to keep us from because we're so adamant about where we're trying to go. Our passions, here it is, our passions can either repair or impair our perspectives. Passions have the capability of repairing. Yes, it does. It is the drive that keeps us up late at night until we get it. It's that thing that keeps us going and not giving up. Our passions, it has the power to repair things that has been broken. Regardless of how many times we failed, our passion kicks in and it repairs what it is that we are aiming for. But here it is, there's a level of passion that is not so positive. Passion where that's not enough. And I reach a goal, but I still feel like that's not enough. And I get a certain amount of money in the bank, and I still feel like that's not enough. And when I get a certain job that I've always been praying for, I still feel like that's not enough. And it will drive us to a discontented place until we lose it. Some of our passions are making us lose it. And there's nothing wrong with having passions. What you have to ask yourself is it submitted or subject to God's purpose for your life? What are you passionate about? But just because you are passionate about it doesn't mean God is. Because I know many people have told you your area of purpose derives from your area of passion. But that's not necessarily true because the enemy can deposit seeds of passion. He can lead you to something that God has no desire for you to do, and you can be passionate about it. James 1:14 talks about how we're driven by our own lust and desires. The enemy uses our passions oftentimes to lure us from what it is that God is trying to do in our lives. The question is, what happens when your passion conflicts God's purpose for your life? What happens? What happens? What happens? I answer it. Many of us get mad. We get upset because, listen, God, I've been staying up all night for this, and I've been studying all night for this, and I've been traveling the world for this, and I've been making connections for this. I've been talking to people I don't even like for this, and how you going to change the trajectory of my life because it's not your purpose? One of the things we have to understand about Jesus is, man, he has a way of blowing our minds and wrecking our reasoning when he comes to the choices for our lives. Because part of me just want to say, wait, it's my life. How are you going to have all these stipulations on my life? I know y'all said it because I said it. I'll be honest. I mean, goodness, you got to put all those boundaries on my life. Can I just choose something for myself? Can you just do something that I want you to do? But sometimes that thing it seems different than what it is that we're asking him because he sees differently. Tell your neighbor, say, he sees differently. See, he can see past how much more money you're going to be making. He can see past the white picket fence. He can see past the six-pack and the pretty smile in the beard. He can see past the lips and the hips. He can see past the charisma. He can see past all of that. He's looking differently. Because Jesus, here it is, one thing that we have to learn from Jesus. Jesus doesn't make decisions from his passion. He makes decisions from his position. Because if he made decisions from his passions, he would have never went up Calvary. Remember when he was praying in the Garden of Gethsemane? He was passionate about changing the trajectory of his life. He was praying so hard that he started sweating blood because why? He was passionate about doing something else. But he had to tap into his position. He had to get into a place that I am the Messiah. I am the King of the Jews. There's something that I need to do. He does not make decisions because of his passion. He makes his decisions because of his position. He looks low, but he sits high. And he knows that there's something else that he has for you. There's something there's something else contrary to what you're praying for that is better. That is wiser. That is more fit for the plan of God for your life. And one of the things we have to learn is to get beyond our feelings and begin to get into the presence of our Father. For he can share with us what it is that he has for us, so that you can hear that the plan for you is good and not of evil. Not only does he sees differently, he sees you differently. See, all you see is where you was born and all the things that you need to get your family out of, and all the trajectory you need to change for your life, and how much money you need to make. But God is saying that before I formed you, I knew you. I knew you was going to be a prophet before you became a prostitute. I knew. So there's certain things that I can't allow you to go to. There's certain people I can't allow you to connect with. There's some cities I can't allow you to go. God doesn't have a pool for you. He has a plan for you. And God is too intentional about your life to leave your life in the hands of a pool of possibilities. He wants a plan that is assured for your life. He doesn't want something that happens by circumstance, something by happenstance, that somebody just come in and roll you in a pool to give you something that you like. No, God is more intentional about your life. He has a plan for you, and it is sure. Blessed assurance. But and if I could just connect with this person, and if I can just connect on this platform, and if I can just get this many followers, and if I can get this book, and if I can follow this plan. I know what everybody is doing. I know the it thing is to be at the pool. I know everybody is at the pool. I understand. I understand everybody is trying to get into this club. I understand that everybody is moving to Atlanta. I know all black people, we moved to Atlanta for what? They don't even want us there. But however, I know that's the plan. Everybody needs to move to Atlanta. Everybody. But can I give a news flash? When you are marked by God, things that typically work for others don't work for you. It don't work. Everybody else went through the 5-step plan and got it. Everybody else read the book and it happened. Everybody else went to the Oprah conference and came out renewed. But it's something about when you're marked by God. See, what we're trying to do, we're trying to play by their rules, but gain his plan. That's what we have a tendency of trying to play by their rules because their rules are easier. Oh, all I think I do is do these 5 steps and I'm successful. Oh, bless the Lord. And we allow what we do, we have a tendency of ignoring the spiritual disciplines that comes along with being a child of God. We don't want to be successful. We want to obtain his promises. That's different. And to get what God has for you, God has requirements of a thing that we don't like to hear called spiritual discipline. There are some things that he's going to require of you because he says your gift will make room for you. It does not make room for your gift. It makes rooms for you. So that means when you show up with the gift, what's going to show up is you. And he needs to make sure you are going to be okay. He needs to make that you don't fall under pressure. He needs to know that you're not going to crack under the spotlight. He know your gift. Yeah, you gifted. Okay. But your growth is more important to God than your gift. And he wants to make sure that your growth is happening. He don't want you to follow Oprah. He wants you to follow him. Because she will, bless the Lord, fall. She did fall, bless the Lord. Yeah, pray for Oprah. He don't want you to just know how to play. He wants you to be able to play demons. He don't want you to just have a job. He wants you to set a standard of godliness and excellence. He don't want you to just get married to somebody that looks good. He wants you to connect with something that was going to break generational curses out of your family and his. God is not interested in this shallow surface blessing, success that everybody else is looking for. Not for your life. He sees you different. It's not just a pool. It's a plan. It's not just the pool. It's the plan. It's not just the pool. It's the plan. It's not just the pool. It's the plan. But what we gotta start seeing, the plan is better than the pool. We think the pool is better than the plan. God wants you to change your perspective and to see that the plan is better than a pool. But it's difficult. It's difficult because some of us still see Jesus' crucifixion as punishment. We still see, man, they killed Jesus and they whipped him all night long. And he was bloody, and they put a bloody cross on his head. And we all went to see the crucifixion at the movies. And we all was crying and bubbling up. But man, they did that to Jesus. Man, I hope they don't do that to me. Be honest. Y'all hear the preacher talking about they ain't gonna like you, and you gonna have haters, and they ain't gonna like the call on your life and the purpose on your life, but you got to be able to stand alone. Nobody wants to do that. You don't think we know that y'all don't want to do that when we saying it? We just got to say it because that's what God says. He said, here it is. See, y'all, we live in a society, and I want to just talk for a minute. I'm ranting. You say she ranting. We live in a society to where we want celebrity Jesus, but we don't want crucified Jesus. We want the Jesus that we can take selfies with, that everybody likes, that does not offend anybody, that gets hundreds and hundreds of followers. But I came to tell you, if Jesus was on earth today, he would not be popular. He would not have people sharing his statuses. He called people dogs, filthy, witches. We'll be saying, oh, he is so judgmental. That is not my Jesus. That's a fake page. Fake news. My Jesus does not do that. He is not turning over chairs in temples. My Jesus don't do that. He don't get angry. Not my Jesus. We have to realize that we can't commercialize God. He's righteous, but he's also rugged. He's blameless, but he also is bloody. He tells us to lay down burdens, but he also tells us to pick up crosses. In this life of Christianity do not come wrapped in a bow. It comes wrapped in a life of sacrifice. Submission to a life of sacrifice is an indication of your spiritual maturity. Submission to a life of sacrifice is an indication of spiritual maturity. Submission to a life of sacrifice is an indication of your spiritual maturity. It does not matter how much you speak in tongues. It does not matter how many times you pray for people. It doesn't matter how many scriptures you know. Are you submitted to a life of sacrifice? It's kind of like when you was in college or when you was in high school, when you have no bills and you had no responsibilities. But then one day you woke up and you was an adult. And you're like, this adulting stuff is just really for the birds. I'm not adulting today. Don't get me out of the bed. And then you had bills, and then you had insurance, and then you had a car note, and then you had kids. And they asking you to cook. Why you bother me? Why do you want me to parent you? Go somewhere. Look at TV, YouTube. That's what everybody's doing. But our maturity allows us to submit to the life. I'm not just talking about to be a part of a life of sacrifice. No, to submit to it. But on the flip side, here it is. I need you to write this down. The immaturity of our spirituality is shown through our desire for more things that is self-serving than what is sacrificial. The immaturity of our spirituality. We talked about the maturity. Let's talk about the immaturity. The immaturity of our spirituality is shown through the desire for more things that are self-serving than what is sacrificial. We know that we have not reached the place where God wants us to be, where everything is about us. We can't even do outreach unless we can take pictures and post it up. We can't attend a church unless they are ready to give me a title and a mic. We can't attend a sermon series if it ain't about relationship goals. God's plan for our lives is not self-serving. Now, I can get up here and preach and talk about all the promises of God, and yes, all of those are great. But the main plan for your life is not the success, that's a benefit. The plan for your life is to serve. It got real tight in here really quick. That's all right. Let's go to I know y'all think I'm talking a lot. Let's go to the text. Let's go to John 5 and 6. It says, here it is. It says, y'all with me? Are y'all enjoying this? Jesus saw him, this lame man sitting by the pool. And the text says, and knew he had been ill for a long time. Now, can I pause and parenthetically put a praise break in here? That he saw him. Now, at the pool, there was 5 different porches. There was 5 different sections of pools. And everybody was surrounding each one, waiting for this thing to happen. And Jesus was just passing through, and he sees him. Now, he could have seen anybody, but he sees him. And the thing about it, the praise point is he didn't see him because he said anything. He saw him because he was just sitting there. He didn't even call for Jesus. There was many people in the Bible that called for Jesus, and he turns around and he answers. But this particular man didn't even call for, he didn't say anything. Jesus just saw him. And aren't you glad there's been times in your life when you couldn't even say anything to him, where you was too prideful to say anything to him, when you was too hurt to say anything for him, when you was too confused to say anything for him, but at the same time, he saw you in spite of. Can we just praise for 10 seconds and thank God for seeing me? He saw me. He saw me in my lonely place. He saw me in my hurt place. He saw me in my depressed state. He saw me. He saw this lame man. And he never called his name. But the text says, and he knew just by looking at him that he had been ill for a long time. This was a time where what people saw on him played on his benefit. Sometimes you got to stop worrying about what people can see on you. You got to stop worrying about what the people see. Yeah, I had a child, had a red lock. God has forgiven me. So what? You got to get to that place to where you stop worrying about what people can see, that people can see your mistakes, that people can see your struggles. That's okay. You may can see it, but at least I'm struggling. At least I'm pressing. At least I'm getting through. At least I asked God for forgiveness and moved on. This time, Jesus is able to see something in him that is beneficial. Yeah. He said, this man been sick for a long time. And it wasn't a stop for pity. No. Jesus didn't stop for pity. There was something about how this man looked that let him know that he may be ready for what it is that I'm trying to do. Because here it is, the length of time in a situation dictates or oftentimes determine the level of desperation you have to get out. Yeah, sometimes you have to be in something for a long time. Sometimes, depending on how long you've been in it, how desperate you are to get out of it. You ever been in that time when you was at school and you stayed after school and your mama didn't come pick you up at the right time? Or you were waiting on somebody, you was waiting on your friend at the house. You had called them to take you to work. That's like the most horrible experience, because friends are so horrible about taking you to work. I said, I got to be there at 10. You coming in at 10:30. You ever been in that place where you was waiting on something? You was waiting on something. You was expecting something to happen, and they didn't show up. And then after and people ask you want me to take it? I can take it. No, they're coming. Well, I can take. I'm going that way anyway. No, they're coming. I already called them, and they said they was gonna come. But after it's like 30 minutes, and an hour done passed by. Somebody say, you want me? Yes, yes, yes. You change because there's a level of desperation that comes with time. And Jesus understood something. This man has been sick for 38 years. And I don't have time to convince you to believe me. I need you to be in a place to where you can just hear me and do it. And sometimes it takes us so long for us to get to that place to where we can just hear God and do it. He allows us to sit in situations. Because if I take you out prematurely, you're gonna get mad at me because I took you out. So I gotta let you sit in the discomfort. Because really you enjoy the discomfort. Really, your discomfortability has become comfortable to you because you have adjusted life to it. He will allow us to sit in it until we become sick enough of it. He will allow us to just sit there. Sometimes he looks at us, and I just imagine God looking at us like, no, they're not ready. You've been praying for a job. No, you're not ready. You enjoy laying in your bed looking at Netflix too much. You're not ready for a job. You're going to get there and be complaining that you can't watch your shows. No, you're not ready. I have to let you sit there for a minute and allow some bills to get tight. And some people start leaving your lives because you don't got no money no more. You can't go out. I got to allow you to sit in that place until you get uncomfortable. How long will it take for you to get uncomfortable? In your situation, even in some of us blindness or lameness, places that we're paralyzed, truth of the matter is we became comfortable in it. We became comfortable being the victim because it gets us attention. We became comfortable being the person that needs counseling. We became comfortable with the person that people always got to calm down. You know that person you always got to calm them down? They're not about to do nothing. They're not about to fight. They just like the fact that people calming them down. Oh no! And people are like, oh no, wait, don't do it. It ain't worth it, girl. And okay. Newsflash, they was never gonna do anything in the first place. But some people just get comfortable about being the problem. And what comforts our flesh oftentimes clashes with our future. Comfortable people, comfortable jobs, comfortable money, comfortable platforms, comfortable dysfunctions. How long will it take for you to get uncomfortable? Uncomfortable enough to where you can hear what God is saying the first time. Somebody said, that's hard. Yes, it is. But if you get uncomfortable enough, if you get tired enough, if you get sick enough, you say, God, what you said? Huh? You say, what? All right. Our problem is that we're not uncomfortable enough. I gotta go. It's almost time. Jesus. I'm gonna skip. Because I don't have time for all of this. I got 50 more pages. I told you this was my first time teaching it, so he was giving me a whole lot. Let's go to John 5:14. Let's end this. John 5:14. It says, afterwards, once Jesus healed him, Jesus finds him in the temple and told him, now you are well, so stop sinning, or something even worse may happen to you. I don't want nobody finding me to tell me that. But this case was really interesting to me because I never read that Jesus went to find anybody once he had already had an encounter with them. I thought this was a healed issue. I thought this was just maybe he was born this way, or he says, wait, you heal, great, awesome. That's what I do, I heal people. But stop sinning. And I know there's not revival yet. You got revival tonight. But God put this heavy in my heart. You're healed, but there's something else I need you to deal with. You're dancing, but you're not delivered. You're anointed, but you're not accountable. You're put together, but you're not set apart. You seek me, but you don't. You ask of me, but you don't seek after me. You come to church, but you don't come to me. You're healed, but you're not holy. And I need you to get beyond a place of healing. There's something else I need from you. There's another place that I'm requiring you to get to. It's beyond just looking good on the outside. It's beyond just having money in your bank account. It's beyond just having friends and followers on social media. It's beyond that. There's something on the inside of you that I need to deal with that is more important to me. That I would change my regular routine because I don't go after. But I turn around and go after you because your healing wasn't your issue. Sin was. And even when I asked you, did you want to get healed? I didn't say be healed like I do everybody else. I told you to stand up. I told you to pick up your mat. And I told you to walk. But maybe you didn't get it the first time. So I had to circle around again and say, stop sinning. Or this time something worse is going to happen to you. It's easy to be healed. That requires a touch. But it ain't easy to live holy. Because living holy is an acquired taste. He said, oh, taste and see that the Lord is good. And if you don't tailor your appetite to like the things of God that is holy, it won't be good to you. And the underlying issue with this generation is that we like the touch, but we don't like the taste of Jesus Christ. We like how the church looks and what it provides and the benefits, but we don't like to be the church. God is calling for a people that just don't like him, but a people that will follow him. He's requiring more of you. He's expecting more of you. Eon, can you come here? Valencia, Chantel, Chanel. Watch this language. You guys need to stand for a minute. Watch the language in John 5 and 14. Watch it. And give me the King James Version for this one. It says, afterward Jesus findeth him in the temple, and said unto him, behold, thou art made whole. Sin no more. Notice he did not say sin less. Notice he didn't say don't sin as much. He says sin no more. And we want to embrace the ideology or theology that no one can live here without sin. But that's not biblical. He said, I have freed you from the bondage of sin. And everywhere there is a test, I have provided a way of escape. There is you don't get a pass to sin. But what sin does is, it is not for God to just sit there and say, Macy, I'm making them do what I want them to do. No. To avoid sin and to be free from sin is a benefit for you. That is for your happiness. It's for your peace. Sin separates us from God. But when our life is absent of sin, and what is sin? What a life absent of sin? Whatever God tells you to do, you do it. God said, that is what I want for you. Because when you don't, you cause a wedge, a separation between us. Come here, Eon. This is God. You see the white shirt? He's here. And he said, I'll be with you always. Always. Until the end of the earth. I will not leave you. I will not forsake you. But what some of our problem is not that he's forsaking us. It's that we're forsaking him. And Chantel, come here. And we forsake him by choosing things that he does not have for our lives. And every time we make a decision to do something that is against his will, we make a separation between who he is and what we are. Because yes, he is Lord, and yes, we love him. But how have we chosen something else or someone else in his stead? But here it is, God doesn't leave us there because there's power in repentance. So when you say, God, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry I did that. I'm going to remove that out of my life and I'm going to stay close to you. And you're right here again. He's waiting on you to do that. But what culture tries to convince us, Chantel, is that there's no need for repentance. Everybody's doing it anyways. There's no need for repentance. God knows my heart. There's no need for repentance. He knows I'm messed up. There's no need for repentance. So I'll just keep it here because my conscience allows me to. And then it's just that one situation I can still see God, so it's not that bad. But then it's another situation comes. And it's another situation you've chosen to choose that over God. And every time you choose that over God, it just don't go away. It stays there. That is your choice. That is your decision. And every time he's getting farther and farther and farther away. And then something else happens. And you're faced with another decision. God, are you going to choose me? Or are you going to do what you want to do? Well, see, I got plans. And this is what I want for my life to look in 5 years. So I got to do this. This is the only thing that makes sense for me to do. And then you get to a place in your walk with Christ where you feel disconnected from God. Where it feels like he does not hear you. When it seems like he's not responding to you. But it's hard for him to get to us through all of these bad, wrong, illegal decisions that we've made in our spiritual lives. And God is not a man that intrudes. He's not a dictator. He waits for you to choose him. But the fact of the matter is, he's still there waiting. He's still there hoping you to say, God, forgive me. I shouldn't have made that decision. God, forgive me. I shouldn't have turned down that path. God, forgive me. I should have never got in that relationship in the first place. He's waiting.